Last spring, over 30 million American households watched a plant die in their garden and reached for a bottle of synthetic rescue fertilizer that cost $12, delivered a 2-week chemical spike, and changed nothing about the soil conditions that killed the plant in the first place. Yellowing leaves, stunted stems, fruit that cracks or never forms. The symptoms repeat every season, and the solution on the shelf is always the same. Buy more. Apply more. Replace the plant and start over. Meanwhile, 5 natural fertilizers made entirely from kitchen waste and household byproducts can reverse the specific nutrient deficiencies, microbial collapses, and soil chemistry failures that cause plants to decline for less than the cost of a single cup of coffee. The garden products industry has no incentive to tell you that the cure for a dying plant is sitting in your trash can. The record opens in the rhizosphere, the thin zone of soil immediately surrounding plant roots. When a plant begins to die, the visible symptoms, yellow leaves, wilting, stunted growth, fruit drop, are the last stage of a cascade that started underground weeks or months earlier. The root zone lost its microbial population. The soil chemistry shifted. A critical nutrient became locked or depleted. The plant sent distress signals that no one read, and by the time the leaves changed color, the damage was already systemic. Modern soil science has mapped these failure modes precisely. Nitrogen deficiency turns lower leaves yellow from the tips inward. Potassium deficiency causes brown leaf edges and weak stems. Calcium deficiency cracks fruit and collapses cell walls. Magnesium deficiency yellows the tissue between veins, while the veins themselves stay green. Iron deficiency turns entire young leaves pale, while old leaves remain dark. Each deficiency has a specific visual signature, and each one can be addressed with a specific natural input that costs nothing to produce. A 2024 study published in Hort Science by the American Society for Horticultural Science confirmed that bioactive compounds extracted from common kitchen waste significantly improve vegetable crop growth when applied as biostimulants. A peer-reviewed review published through PMC in 2025 confirmed that food waste-derived organic fertilizers deliver measurable agronomic impacts across multiple crop categories. The research is converging on a conclusion the fertilizer industry would prefer you never hear. The most effective plant rescue treatments are not manufactured in factories. They are fermented in kitchens. The knowledge was never hidden. It was composted along with the scraps. Until now. Here are the 5 natural fertilizers that actually bring dying plants back to life. Fertilizer 1. Onion peel elixir. The potassium and quercetin rescue. Every kitchen in America throws away onion skins. The dry, papery outer layers peel off and go into the trash without a second thought. What goes into the trash is one of the most concentrated natural sources of potassium, calcium, iron, and a flavonoid compound called quercetin, which plants use to defend against heat stress, ultraviolet radiation, and pathogenic attack. A 2024 study, published in Hort Science, the Journal of the American Society for Horticultural Science, tested onion juice concentrate derived from onion peel waste across 3 controlled experiments on Bermuda grass, lettuce, bok choy, and radish. The results documented significant improvements in plant growth when onion peel extract was applied as a biostimulant. The researchers confirmed that onion peel is a concentrated source of bioactive compounds capable of functioning as both a soil amendment and a plant growth promoter. The quercetin content is the detail that separates onion peel from generic kitchen waste. Quercetin is classified as a flavonoid antioxidant. In plants, it functions as a stress shield, protecting cellular structures from oxidative damage caused by heat, drought, intense sunlight, and fungal attack. When you apply onion peel extract to a plant under stress, you are delivering the same class of protective compound that the plant would produce internally if it had the energy to do so. A stressed plant has diverted its resources to survival. The quercetin supplement allows it to maintain defense while redirecting energy back toward growth and recovery. Collect the dry outer skins from 4 to 5 onions. Place them in a quart jar and fill with room temperature water. Cover loosely and let the mixture steep for 24 to 48 hours. The water will turn a deep amber color as potassium, calcium, iron, and quercetin leach from the skins. Strain the liquid and apply it undiluted directly to the soil around struggling plants once per week. For foliar application, strain through cheesecloth and spray lightly on leaf surfaces in the early morning. Potassium in the extract addresses one of the most common causes of plant decline in home gardens. Potassium governs water regulation inside plant cells. A potassium-deficient plant cannot move water efficiently, which means it wilts even when the soil is moist, drops fruit before it ripens, and develops the characteristic brown scorching along leaf margins that gardeners often mistake for sunburn or disease. The onion peel elixir delivers potassium in organic, immediately available form alongside the quercetin that helps the plant use it under stress conditions. Apply 1 cup of strained onion peel extract per plant once per week for 4 to 6 weeks. You will see measurable improvement in leaf color and turgor within 2 weeks in most cases. Fertilizer 2. Fermented rice water. The microbial resurrection. When a plant is dying in soil that looks dry, compacted, and lifeless, the problem is almost never a missing nutrient. It is a missing population. The bacteria and fungi that mineralize organic matter into plant-available nutrients, that solubilize locked phosphorus and potassium, that protect roots from pathogenic infection, are gone. The soil is biologically dead. No amount of synthetic fertilizer addresses this, because synthetic fertilizer feeds plants, not the organisms that make soil function. Fermented rice water rebuilds that population directly. When you rinse uncooked rice before cooking, the cloudy water that washes off contains dissolved starches, amino acids, B vitamins, phosphorus, and potassium leached from the grain surface. Left at room temperature for 3 to 5 days, that water undergoes lactic acid fermentation. The starch feeds a rapid bloom of beneficial bacteria, including nitrogen-fixing bacteria, phosphorus-solubilizing organisms, potassium-solubilizing bacteria, and lactic acid bacteria that suppress soil-borne pathogens. A study published on ResearchGate characterized the chemical and microbial composition of washed rice water waste and confirmed that a 3-day fermentation period is optimal for maximizing beneficial bacterial concentration and nutrient content. The fermented product contained measurably higher levels of available nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium than the raw rinse water, and the microbial population delivered those nutrients alongside living biology rather than in isolated chemical form. A 2023 study by Nabai and colleagues, published in Helion, tested fermented rice water across 3 consecutive field planting cycles and documented significant increases in beneficial soil bacterial populations, plant growth, and nutrient uptake in every treated plot compared to untreated controls. The application method is straightforward. Rinse 1 cup of uncooked rice in 2 cups of water. Save the cloudy rinse water in a jar. Cover loosely and leave at room temperature for 3 to 5 days. The liquid will develop a slightly sour smell, indicating active fermentation. Dilute 1:1 with fresh water and apply directly to the soil around dying plants once per week. You are not feeding the plant. You are repopulating the rhizosphere. Within 2 to 3 weeks of weekly application, a biologically dead root zone will show visible signs of recovery, darker soil color, increased earthworm activity, and new root growth visible at the soil surface. The microbial population you introduce feeds the plant from below, while the plant recovers from above. Fertilizer 3. Vegetable scrap digestate. The nitrogen emergency kit. When a plant's lower leaves turn uniformly yellow from the tips inward, while the upper leaves remain green, the diagnosis is almost always nitrogen deficiency. The plant is cannibalizing nitrogen from its oldest tissue and redistributing it to the growing points. If the deficiency is not corrected, the yellowing progresses upward until the entire plant is compromised. Synthetic nitrogen fixes this fast, but it crashes the microbial community and leaches away within days, leaving the plant vulnerable to the same deficiency cycle within weeks. Vegetable scrap. Digestate delivers nitrogen in organic form that feeds both the plant and the biology simultaneously, sustaining the correction across the entire growing season rather than a 2-week window. A review published in PubMed Central in 2025 analyzed food waste-derived organic fertilizers and confirmed that anaerobic digestion of plant material releases nitrogen in plant-available forms while building soil organic matter. The review documented measurable agronomic impacts across multiple crop categories when food waste digestate was applied as a liquid fertilizer. Collect wilted or overripe green vegetables from your kitchen, lettuce, spinach, pepper trimmings, herb stems, celery tops, anything green that is past its prime. Submerge the scraps completely in a bucket of water. Cover loosely and leave in a warm, shaded location for 10 to 14 days. The material will break down through anaerobic digestion, releasing dissolved nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and a suite of micronutrients into the liquid. Expect a strong smell. It is not a pleasant process, but the product works. Strain the liquid, dilute it at a ratio of 1:5 with fresh water, and apply it directly to the soil around nitrogen-deficient plants. Use 1 cup of diluted digestate per plant, once per week for 3 to 4 weeks, to reverse moderate nitrogen deficiency in most vegetable and ornamental crops. The organic nitrogen feeds microbial populations that continue mineralizing nutrients for weeks after each application, unlike soluble synthetic nitrogen that spikes and disappears. The key is timing. Apply digestate during active growth when roots are actively absorbing. Do not apply to dormant plants or to bare soil in winter, because the nitrogen will leach before roots can use it. Fertilizer 4. The kitchen cocktail. The complete mineral rescue. Some dying plants are not deficient in one nutrient. They are deficient in several. The leaves are pale, the stems are weak, the fruit is small or absent. The entire plant looks exhausted. For systemic decline, a single nutrient correction is not enough. You need a complete mineral rebalance delivered in bioavailable form, and you can build one from 5 kitchen ingredients that most households already have. The recipe combines banana peels, used coffee grounds, eggshell powder, Epsom salt, and blackstrap molasses into a single steep that covers the full spectrum of secondary and micronutrient deficiencies. Banana peels are one of the richest natural sources of potassium available in any kitchen. They also contain meaningful levels of phosphorus, calcium, and magnesium. Chop 2 to 3 banana peels into small pieces for each batch. Used coffee grounds contribute organic matter, trace nitrogen, and a carbon-to-nitrogen ratio that feeds soil decomposers. Dr. Linda Chalker Scott at Washington State University published a thorough review of the science behind coffee grounds in the garden. She confirmed that used grounds have a near-neutral pH of 6.5 to 6.8, debunking the widespread myth that they acidify soil. The review also found that coffee grounds improve soil aggregation, attract earthworms, and can suppress certain fungal pathogens, including Fusarium and Pythium, when used in moderation. There is a warning. Too much coffee grounds applied directly to soil can inhibit germination and growth because of antimicrobial properties and residual caffeine. In this recipe, the grounds are diluted and steeped, which removes the concentration risk. Eggshell powder provides calcium carbonate. Ground finely and steeped in the slightly acidic liquid produced by the other ingredients, the calcium converts into bioavailable form. 2 to 3 dried powdered eggshells per batch. The 2025 Horti Journal study confirmed eggshell-derived calcium, improves root development, reduces soil acidity, and prevents blossom end rot in tomatoes and peppers. Epsom salt provides magnesium sulfate. Magnesium is the central atom of every chlorophyll molecule. A 2023 review published in Frontiers in Plant Science confirmed that magnesium deficiency can cripple yields and impede plant development even when all other nutrients are adequate. 1 tablespoon per batch. Blackstrap molasses provides iron, calcium, magnesium, potassium, and simple sugars that feed the microbial community in the soil. The sugars are not for the plant. They are fuel for the bacteria and fungi that make the other nutrients available to roots. 1 tablespoon per batch. Combine all 5 ingredients in a 5-gallon bucket of water. Stir thoroughly. Cover loosely and steep for 24 to 48 hours. Strain the liquid and apply 1 to 2 cups per plant at the base, directly to the soil once per week. For plants in systemic decline, continue weekly applications for 6 to 8 weeks. This is not a silver bullet. It is a mineral spectrum delivered in organic, biologically active form that addresses multiple deficiency pathways simultaneously. The potassium from the banana peels strengthens cell walls and water regulation. The calcium from the eggshells rebuilds structural tissue. The magnesium from the Epsom salt restores chlorophyll production. The organic matter from the coffee grounds feeds the soil, biology that makes everything else available. And the sugars from the molasses keep that biology active and multiplying between applications. Fertilizer 5, Aged Manure Tea, the complete liquid feed. This is the oldest fertilizer on the list and the most complete. Aged manure steeped in water produces a liquid that delivers balanced nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, alongside a dense microbial population, humic acids, and trace minerals in a single application. It is the closest thing to a universal plant rescue treatment that exists in natural gardening. LSU Agriculture Center published a detailed extension report on compost and manure tea, providing a critical scientific assessment of both the benefits and the risks. The report confirmed that properly prepared manure tea delivers plant-available nutrients in balanced ratios while inoculating the soil with beneficial microorganisms. The report also emphasized the critical importance of using only well-aged manure, composted for a minimum of 6 months, to eliminate human pathogens, including E. coli and Salmonella, that are present in fresh animal waste. Safety is non-negotiable. Fresh manure, or manure that has not been fully composted, must never be used to make tea for application on food crops. The pathogen risk is real and documented. Only manure that is dark, crumbly, earthy smelling, and at least 6 months old belongs in this preparation. The method is simple. Place 1 shovelful of well-aged cow, horse, chicken, or rabbit manure into a burlap sack, an old pillowcase, or a porous cloth bag. Submerge the bag in a 5-gallon bucket of water, like a giant tea bag. Cover loosely and steep for 3 to 5 days, agitating the bag once daily. The water will turn a dark brown, the color of weak tea. Remove the bag and dilute the liquid 1:1 with fresh water before application. Chicken and rabbit manure are higher in nitrogen and should be diluted further, at least 1:3, to avoid burning tender roots. Cow and horse manure produce a more balanced, gentler tea that can be applied at 1:1 dilution to most plants without risk. Apply 1 to 2 cups of diluted manure tea per plant at the base, once per week for heavy feeders like tomatoes, peppers, squash, and corn. For plants in severe decline, apply twice weekly for the first 2 weeks, then taper to weekly maintenance. The nitrogen promotes new leaf growth. The phosphorus supports root recovery. The potassium strengthens the plant's ability to regulate water and resist disease during the recovery period. The microbial population rebuilds the biological infrastructure in the root zone that allowed the decline to happen in the first place. But it survived. The knowledge of rescuing plants with kitchen waste never disappeared into product development labs or fertilizer factory pipelines. While the garden products industry consolidated around $12 bottles of rescue sprays and single-purpose liquid feeds, traditional farming communities across every continent preserved these preparations through generations of practical use. Egyptian farmers poured grain fermentation water on their crops along the Nile Delta for thousands of years. Chinese peasant farmers steeped vegetable waste and manure in water for centuries before the word fertilizer existed in English. Korean natural farming systems codified fermented rice water as a core soil inoculant. Generations before Western science published its first paper on the mechanism. European cottage gardeners made banana peel and eggshell steeps for flowering plants for over 200 years. Every culture that grew food without a garden center invented some version of these 5 preparations independently because the biology demanded it and the kitchen supplied it. Western science caught up. The 2024 Hort Science study confirmed onion peel as a legitimate biostimulant. The ResearchGate characterization study confirmed fermented rice water as a microbial inoculant. The PMC review confirmed food waste digestate as an effective organic nitrogen source. Washington State University confirmed the real science behind coffee grounds. LSU Ag Center confirmed the efficacy and safety parameters of manure tea. The research documented what kitchen gardeners have practiced for centuries, that the most effective plant rescue treatments are brewed, not bought. Today, the knowledge is accelerating, not because the industry promoted it. Gardeners watching their plants die despite spending hundreds of dollars on commercial rescue products started asking why 5 kitchen scraps that cost nothing could do what a shelf of bottles never did. The silence around kitchen waste fertilizers is breaking. You can revive what they told you to replace. Start with the symptom. If your plant has yellow lower leaves, brew the vegetable scrap digestate and address the nitrogen deficit directly. If the leaves show brown edges and weak stems, make the onion peel elixir and deliver potassium within the week. If the soil around your dying plant is hard, dry, and lifeless, ferment rice water for 3 days and repopulate the biology. If the decline is systemic and you cannot isolate a single deficiency, brew the kitchen cocktail and cover the full mineral spectrum at once. If you have access to aged manure and need the most complete single treatment available, steep the manure tea and apply it twice weekly until you see new growth. The total investment for all 5 natural fertilizers applied across a full rescue protocol runs under $2 if you source the ingredients from your own kitchen waste. That is less than the cost of a single bottle cap of commercial liquid fertilizer, and these treatments do not stop working when the bottle runs dry. The onion peel keeps steeping, the rice water keeps fermenting, the microbial populations keep multiplying. The biology compounds. the recovery builds. The cost stays at zero. The garden products industry profits from the premise that a dying plant requires a purchased rescue product. These 5 kitchen preparations begin with the opposite truth, that the most effective plant medicine on earth is brewed from the scraps you were about to throw away, and the only ingredient the industry cannot sell you is the knowledge of how to use them. The knowledge was never lost. It was waiting in the onion skins, in the rice pot, in the compost pile, in the manure heap, in the hands of gardeners who never needed a bottle of anything to bring a plant back to life. If this seed was finally freed for you, subscribe to Hank's Gardening Journey and hit the bell. Every like and every share helps break the silence. The next seed breaks free soon.